welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now this bit is for the parents, guardians and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Good morning everyone. We hope you all had a really enjoyable day yesterday modelling your buildings. We can't wait to see what you've designed. But Before that, it might be nice for you to have some final hints and tips as to what makes a really professional report. Our friends at Heriot-Watt University are on hand once again to help you through the final stages of your work experience week. Do listen carefully. Remember to ask any questions of our experts after the broadcast, and enjoy your last day of the DEC Virtual Work Experience Week.
Hello, my name is Guy Walker and I'm a professor at Heriot-Watt University. I hear you have to write a 6-page professional report for the esteemed Pavilion Design Challenge. I think I can help. So one of the things professors do is write books. I've written 18. One of them was translated into Chinese and, believe it or not, some of the others are actually quite interesting. So not only do I earn millions of pounds in royalties, actually I'm lying, with all this writing experience, it means I can give you some advice on writing your report. So, if I was asked to write a report like the one you've been asked to, here's what I would do. I wouldn't start writing. Not yet, anyway. I'll take some time to get an image in my mind of who is going to be reading my report. What sort of person are they? Why are they even picking up your report? Where did they get it from? What are they expecting from it? Note all of this down. Now, the fact it's called a professional report is a clue. This isn't a Harry Potter book, a text message, or a script for a comedy show. In any kind of written work, you are, in effect, speaking to someone. So the words you write are the voice of your team. So who is the person you are speaking to in your report? In this case, you are speaking to a professional person who may have an interest in your project. What exactly is a professional person, I hear you ask? Well, we can't be 100% sure, but maybe they work in a company. Maybe they own that company. Maybe they have loads of technical knowledge on Dubai-based pavilions, but maybe they have none at all, but know lots of other things. Note all of this down too. Why is a professional person reading it? Is it because they might want to pay you loads of money to get involved with your project? Do they want to learn more about what you're doing? So do you launch into things by tipping a bucket full of in-depth technical stuff over their head? Or do you hold the reader by the hand and walk them through your pavilion design like a museum guide, pointing out the things of interest and telling the story? My advice, be the museum guide. And guess what? Note down how you would do this as well. Also bear in mind that if your reader works in or owns a company, then they are very busy. So how do you write a report for this type of reader? I'm now going to reveal my biggest secret about writing reports for professional people. Now, if you think professional people pour a cup of tea, throw an extra log on the fire and indulge in 2 hours of quality time with your professional report, then you are wrong. Instead, imagine your busy professional person is sitting on the Dubai tram and they have 6 minutes between stops. If they can skim through your professional report and get to the end thinking, "Cool, that sounds really interesting and I get it," then you have succeeded. In other words, your professional report must pass Professor Walker's tram test. Easier said than done, and there's quite a bit of thinking to do before you begin the actual writing, so don't rush into it. Step away from the keyboard and think about your reader. That's my advice. Good luck.
When making a presentation, it's very important to be very concise about what you write. So you guys are having to write an A4 report. So a few tips that I might give you is when you're writing a report, it's very important to keep the reader interested because it's very easy to get bored when you're reading something like a report. So for example, you can have nice, clear subtitles, which will help it not seem too paragraphy and essay-y. Because if you write one whole chunk all together in your report, instead of splitting it out into categories and subsections, it's very easy for a reader, even yourself, to get lost in your own work or what you're reading, and you kind of lose interest because you forget what you're reading about. Whereas with subtitles, you kind of know that section is aligned to that title, so you pay more attention and it comes in shorter snippets, so to your mind it seems like less reading.
After lots of years of school and college and university, I'm definitely one who knows how to write a report. Now, this can be very scary at first, staring at a blank page, but don't worry too much. My advice is that a picture often speaks 1,000 words, and what you can put into a drawing or a diagram can communicate information in different ways that words can. And this means that also some people process information in different ways. Some people might understand drawing better than they understand a big piece of text. So decide well between what you draw and what you write about. And also, at the end, don't forget to read your report out loud to yourself. And this makes it sure that everything makes sense.
So one thing to keep in mind when you're doing presenting, whether it's a PowerPoint presentation or whether it's a Word document, always make sure that your tables, graphs, photos, pictures, all these sort of things, that they're always used to the best efficiency. When you're writing a document, if you can have a diagram that's efficiently labelled and actually relates directly to what you're talking about, it can save you a lot of effort to have to write that out and explain it. Something like this could be a diagram of a floor plan. So instead of having to explain the floor plan in every single way it works, it could be a single photo with some annotations on it. The same with a PowerPoint presentation as well. You don't necessarily have to have everything you want to say on the screen, but you could have something that supports the evidence that you're about to put forward. The other thing as well I'd say is always make sure you read over everything, even if you've just finished and you don't want to do it anymore. Always make sure you have another person, if possible, read over it. It's really useful having someone's opinion. I ask a lot of my course mates for a lot of my coursework. If they think it's okay, do you think I should reword it? Even in this project, a lot of the emails and things like that would get sent out. I've always got someone else trying to check it for me, because you might read something and it might sound good in your head, but someone else could come along and just massively disagree with you. So those are my top 2 tips I'd say for making sure when you're presenting to get the best out of it.
Another tip to keep your readers interested and engaged is making certain words in your work bold, which you think are important and you want them to stick in your reader's mind. So for example, in a whole paragraph, you might make certain words bold, which you really want them to remember, because even if they don't remember the entire paragraph they read, at least they'll know the gist because of the bold words that will stay in their head. So hopefully these tips will help you with your report. Good luck!
Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see 2 symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be